Harlowton has always been the center of Diane Jones's world.
I was born in the local community hospital, grew up, graduated from high school, married. Our kids all graduated from high school here. Now we have the next generation who's just coming into the same schools that my husband and I grew up in.
Though she spent parts of her nursing career in Billings, she always found her way back home.
I know it sounds a little corny, but I really believe in our community, and that stems from having grown up here, but also having worked here in different roles, recognizing how important it is to support the resources that we have to keep people here. I'm retired. I loved my career, but I came back here for good reason because I think this is the best place. It's the best place in the world to me.
So when the mayor of Harlowton asked Jones to join the city's local government study commission, she gladly agreed.
So Susan has done, I think, quite a marvelous job putting together a final report. And Susan, do you want to take it away? Because you did some great work.
In 2024, voters here, along with everywhere else in the state, were asked if they wanted to undergo a local government review, basically a chance to peek under the hood of their city, town, or county governments.
It's a constitutionally mandated review that takes place every 10 years, and it's an opportunity for the citizens in a local government to vote on whether they want to perform an evaluation or a review of their existing form of government and compare that with alternatives. If the local citizens vote yes, then they elect study commissioners, and those commissioners then evaluate the existing form, compare the existing form with alternative forms, and then if they find that there could be an improvement upon the structure or plan or powers of government, they then present that to the voters for their adoption or rejection.
If that sounds like a lot of work, it is. Not only do the volunteer study commissioners have to become experts in nuanced local government structures, they must then communicate what they've learned to the general public. To help make all that digestible, Dan Clark and his team at MSU's Local Government Center crisscross the state, training commissioners and facilitating community discussions.
Of the 127 municipalities, I've been into and presented trainings in 109 of them. So I know and understand both the geography of the state and the complexity, but also the cultural and the governing challenges and situations.
Montana is the only state in the country that offers a local government review to its citizens. In 2024, 12 counties took it on, as did 44 municipalities. Clark says it's common for people to think that this is their chance to review their elected officials.
And that's not at all what this is about. It's really about what sort of powers do we want our local government to have access to as they make decisions on our behalf. And is one in our situation better than the other? And that's much more nuanced than I really don't like our mayor, right? So it has nothing to do about people, but everything to do about process.
To get a sense of what the study commission can address, Harlowton offers an example. The Milwaukee Railroad was once the economic lifeblood of the town, but when the last rail car left the station in 1980, there was little left to support the community.
I think that the population, when we were really active with the railroad, was over 2,000, and now we're at 800 to 900. So, over 50% of the population has decreased over the course of a couple decades. So that made it hard because we did lose a lot of community services and businesses. And you can tell by looking at our main street, there's a lot of businesses that are no longer in existence. There was one day that a friend of mine were counting the amount of empty buildings on Main Street, and there was 20, which when I was a kid, that wasn't the case at all.
It was packed.
It was packed.
If you ask around town, people will say one of the biggest changes after the railroad was abandoned is the class size at the school. The Harlowton engineers dropped from a Class B school to Class C. Another difference is that the town council now has trouble keeping commissioners in their seats. The current city plan mandates that council members live in the ward they represent, a tall order now that the town is smaller.
There's been kind of an attrition of council members. If they relocated from one area of the community to another, then they were no longer able to be representative of their ward. And so that's a big deal because we have a hard time keeping enough members on the council. We need 6 members, 2 from each ward at this point.
To address this, Jones and her fellow commissioners are looking into converting 3 of their city council seats to at-large positions, which can be elected from anywhere in the city. She hopes this will also enable the town to take care of other long-standing problems.
There's hot topic issues, I think, that continue to be a challenge, including how are we keeping up our Main Street? Are there buildings that are just disintegrating but nobody wants to sell them? And holding on to buildings that are of no use, what can we do ordinance-wise that might make a difference? And so how we can try to stabilize our council is really, really important.
80 miles as the crow flies southwest of Harlowton, Bozeman is on a different trajectory.
In 2004, somewhere in there, the population was about maybe a little more than half of what it is now. And so you think about what that means. As the city grows, things change.
All 4 members of Bozeman's City Commission are elected at large, and though the city has ballooned in size, the majority of its representation still comes from one neighborhood in the old part of town.
As you grow, you also grow different neighborhoods. The northwest side of the city is all new construction. What are the interests of the Northwest? One, they don't have problems with dilapidated housing because it's all relatively new. They do have, are there walkable neighborhoods? How near is the nearest grocery store? How near is the nearest gas station? And those are what their issues are. Some of the primary services are in the old parts of town, the library, the swimming pool, all of that. Well, there's a need and a desire on the northwest side of town to have some of those amenities. How do you go about doing it?
And they can do that by creating wards. So Bozeman might be interested in shifting from at-large to wards, where Harlowton might be thinking we want to go from wards to at-large. And that's what I like about this whole local government review is that it's an experiment. Let's try it out. And for Bozeman, it may have worked for 30 years. Now let's evaluate it. And at the end of the day, the voters may decide, no, we're happy with at-large.
That's the sort of experimentation the framers of the 1972 Montana Constitution hoped to inspire when they included the local government review. They also thought it would encourage public participation in government more broadly. But as time has gone on, the review has become less popular.
As I look at the trajectory of the local government review, and the first time in the 70s, it was 100% of the cities and counties participated. In the 80s, it was 70%-ish. And those numbers of participating cities and municipalities and counties has been declining over time. And the proposals that have been going before the voters has been declining over time.
In the northeast corner of the state, the town of Nashua was one of the places that voted for the review. But when it came time to actually do the work of evaluating their government, study commissioners were unable to muster community engagement. For a town of 300 people with minimal resources, the juice just wasn't worth the squeeze.
It was disappointing. After, we started in December, January, February, and in March, we decided that we would send out a letter to all the voters in the town that said, come and meet your crew, come and meet us. Who was voted in, where do we meet, when do we meet, what's our purpose? It didn't improve our attendance.
Nashua Study Commission ended in August of 2025, more than a year before the deadline, with no recommendations for changes.
Once that was decided upon by all 3 of us, it was an easy choice to start the process to end it.
So, spent basically $4,000 to realize that government is working.
It's functioning as it's needed, yes.
Despite her experience, Meredith still believes in the process.
I have never in my life dreamt that a state would have the forethought to say, you know what, if you guys don't like the form of government, the type of government that you have, every 10 years we'll give you the opportunity to change that. Who would have thought?
For Diane Jones in Harlowton, it's an opportunity that can't be missed. And to find out why, we head over to the annual Moose Lodge Hunter's Feed, which has been serving chicken fried steaks on the first day of antelope season for longer than anyone can remember. It's an illustration of the small town spirit hanging on in Harlow, where you can still find an extra pair of hands to help open jars of homemade pickled beets.
It's exciting to have opportunities like what has come about with the City Commission, in that we're able to look at our government structure and say, gee, is there something else we could be doing that might give opportunity to help the community build and develop more, that would also provide jobs and housing and stability in that way. And I think that what we're seeing now is that there needs to be a move forward if we're going to survive as a little community.
For Impact, I'm Sam Wilson.